What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. Tonight we're going live, 8 o'clock Central Time here. We're going over the waiver wire stuff. I did put out a video last night, but I think this weekend's or tonight's waiver wire is extremely important. I just wanted to hop in live and give you guys any information or any news that you guys might need. If you guys have questions, fire them up in the chat room. I'm going to hop into a screen share, though. I wanted to kind of just pull up some news and some things like that. Of course, the major news that happened this week, you got Jamal Williams, who's going to be out for the season now. I think a lot of people are looking at Melvin Gordon. They're looking at Mike Boone. They're looking at even Latavius Murray. And I think this is a very interesting situation. If I just filter here by Denver, let's look at the running backs. Again, we got, let me just kind of zoom in. As of right now, the projections are 13.2 for Melvin Gordon. They got Mike Boone here for 7.8 and Latavius Murray at 1.3, which is extremely interesting. I think Melvin Gordon has the best value for Thursday Night Football, but after that, I don't know. They signed Latavius Murray, who we know is a really good in-between the tackles, goal line back. He could lead the team in touchdowns the rest of the way. I think that's definitely in the range of outcomes. Mike Boone, he's kind of been, just like a career RB3 for most teams. He's never really had an extensive starting role, so we don't really know what we're getting with Mike Boone. He did get more work than Melvin Gordon last week after his fumble. He didn't really do anything with it, but 3 for 20 and 1 for 9 as a receiver. It sounds like he has, some nice opportunity here, but I don't think he's going to run away with the job. And his availability is 0.2 rostered. He's going to shoot up dramatically. Melvin Gordon, 74%. If Melvin Gordon's hanging around your waiver wire, please go pick him up. I think that's a pretty good snag if you can. But I think the sneaky pickup here is Latavius Murray. Melvin Gordon's he's fumbled the ball 4 times this year. He's got 5 fumbles in his last 5 games. He's lost 2 fumbles, both returned for touchdowns. So he's kind of on shaky ground. I think maybe Latavius Murray might be the better stash play. So if you want to add someone for free, I do like Latavius Murray. And then let's get into some of the chats here. Melvin Gordon, Alan Lazard. If this is a start-sit question, Harris, I would prefer to save start-sits for tomorrow night. At the moment right now, I'm probably going to go with Melvin Gordon, though, for start-sit in full PPR. Do we like dropping Antonio Gibson for Brian Robinson tonight? I'm excited about Brian Robinson. I think the hard part, though, is it's going to mean Gibson and Brian Robinson are likely going to be splitting the spot, which I don't know if it's going to leave either one usable for fantasy. So I think I'd like to hold on to Gibson. If you can add Brian Robinson and hold on to Gibson, I think that would be the best. That would be the best way to do it. And Harris says they're both on waiver, actually. I mean, if you can get both guys need to be rostered. I think Alan Lazard balled out last week. He kind of took over as the go-to receiver. Lazard and Melvin Gordon. If you can get both, I would definitely get both. And it depends on your roster construction. If you need a running back to start this week, get Melvin Gordon. If you need a receiver to start this week, go Alan Lazard. If you're looking for a long stash play, I think both guys need to find a way on your team. But back to Christian's question here. We've been saying it for the last couple weeks. Brian Robinson, he's been hanging around waiver wires. You've been able to snag him and stash him on your IR, but all of a sudden here, it's going to take a huge hit you can already see 4.6 projections for Brian Robinson, 11.1 for Antonio Gibson. We're probably not going to feel good about starting Gibson as an RB2 anymore. So I think if you can hold on to Gibson, do it. I can't guarantee Brian Robinson's going to come right in and get as much work, or more than Gibson at the moment. Good evening to Justin. Huge waiver wire week. That's why we're doing the live tonight. Do you like dropping Allen Robinson over Alexander Mattison? I think at this point so the NFL typically goes in stretches of like 4 weeks, right? There's essentially 4 little seasons. Now that there's 17 games, it kind of throws it off, but there's always like a 4-game season in the NFL. So this is the first month. It's done. We've seen nothing fun from Allen Robinson. He's bombed 3 out of 4 times. I think at this point, if you have good enough receiver depth, I don't see any reason to hold on to Allen Robinson. I think at this point, Dalvin Cook, we know he's got the shoulder injury. Madison did catch a touchdown. If you need running back help and your receiving depth is good, I think Madison's probably a better guy to hold onto your bench right now. Do we really think Allen's just the light bulb's going to come on here and he's just going to be, playing really well? Let me look and see where he is at in terms of rostership here. Let me hit percent rostered. Allen Robinson, 1 second. I mean, he's down to about 84.8. So people are dropping him. He's seen a 5% dip here. So I think if you need the running back stash, I would do it. George Pickens a must add. I think so. He's down here pretty significantly. So let me just hit the next page on the percent roster tab. Pickens is 37.6% rostered. I think his usage has spiked the last couple games. You see 7 targets and 8 targets here. That's what you want to see. But now that Kenny Pickett's officially the guy, you're probably going to be looking at these numbers as kind of like his floor and his ceiling. So he didn't catch a touchdown yet. So those are going to start coming soon once Pickett gets settled in. But 6.9 to 16.8 or 0.2, that's going to be your range of outcomes. I don't know if he's going to get these 7 and 8 targets, but I would expect between 3 and 6 catches per game. I'm liking George Pickens. If you can add him, he's one of the top ads of the week, no doubt. Thoughts on Rex Burkhead. Interesting guy. Let's go take a look here at the running backs. And again, I'm just filtering it by percent rostered here. Let's scroll on down. Where is the sexy Rexy Burkhead? How about Dameon Pierce, though, guys? Dameon Pierce balling out with that 75-yard touchdown run. Looking good. Looking really fun if you waited on Dameon Pierce. But Rex Burkhead, RB35 on the year, averaging 9.2 in full PPR leagues. Let's look at the numbers here. So far, I think if you would have started him in all 4 of these games, you would have been happy with the 12, happy with the 14.9. You'd have been okay with the 7, disappointed with the 2.9. So far, I'm going to say this is, a 2.5 stars out of 4 games. I think he's going to probably be, in the 3, 4, 5 catches per game range. I like that. This Denver game's kind of an outlier so far among the 4 games. This is probably a guy that you can whip out. Now that bye weeks are starting after week 5, I think Burkhead's probably a guy that, if you need an RB2, whip him out, and you're hoping for a 7 to 14 point game. He's kind of like in the mold of a McKissick, of a Nyheim Hines. I think they love Dameon Pierce, but Rex Burkhead is not going away. And actually, the fact that they're not giving Rex these 14 carries anymore and they're just letting him be a pass catcher is a blessing for his health and for his durability the rest of the year. So I like Rex Burkhead at the end of my bench. Is Rachaad White splitting carries or getting work? Let's actually go to PFF snaps routes week 4. Let's pull this article up here. I believe this is the one we're looking for. I want to go all the way down on the page to, let's find Tampa Bay. So I'm not sure what it was. Rachaad White got the most work of his young career so far. Let's see. So here is the Buccaneers snap count. So Leonard Fournette, 39 snaps, Rachaad White, 24. You see 28 routes run for Fournette, 18 for White, 7 targets for Fournette, 5 for White, 3 and 3 target or carries for each running back here. So this is saying to add Rachaad White. Leonard Fournette managed an ineffective -3 yards on 3 carries. Fournette hadn't played well. He's not playing, Fournette's not playing very well. White took 2 full drives in the first half and second half rather than the Buccaneers rotating by situation. And that was what I noticed. They just put White in there and let him take the whole drive. They didn't, just sub him in on 3rd downs or sub him in for a play or 2. He got the full drive. So the fresh young player, the rookie, could, if this is the floor going forward, I think you're looking at, again, 5 targets in this game. You're kind of putting him in the Nyheim Hines, McKissick, Rex Burkhead role. So he does have weekly RB2 value in PPRs, I think, going forward. And you can, just look at the amount of green here. That's Rachaad White. He got all of the goal line carries and the short yardage, as well as 1 play in 3rd down, 5 in the 2-minute. But look at, this is very interesting trend here. I think you have to go add Rachaad White if you can do so. Receivers before him or Mike Williams, Mike Evans, St. Brown, and Rashad Evans. Receivers before him or I am confused. So you have Mike, St. Brown, and Rashad Bateman. Yeah, you don't need Allen Robinson on that one. Yep, you don't need A-Rob on that team, my dude. Can you go over week 4 fellowship league? Give me a minute, Justin. We'll go over that towards the end. Zay Jones or Marvin Jones? I prefer Zay Jones. This last game is interesting. Let me find it. I don't think it's hard because that game was a kind of a shitty rainy game. It didn't really have a lot. I think the one thing that stuck out was Jamal Agnew, who, we were correct. Tim Jones was the main outside receiver who benefited from Zay Jones's absence, but mean, Jamal Agnew with the 6 targets on just 18 snaps, 15 routes run. When Agnew was in there, he was getting the ball. So that's an interesting development. That might actually take some steam off of Zay and Marvin, because if they're going to continue to give Agnew, touches here, that could be a thorn in the side there for Zay and Marvin. But if I had to choose one, I want Zay. Is Ingram because the backup RB? That is a good point. I think Ingram, we can begin to see some clarity now that, especially that Latavius Murray's gone. Personally, I don't love adding, a backup that's, in his 30s. I think it's interesting. Mark Ingram got hurt in this game, so he managed, 13 routes, 3 targets, 10 carries. Latavius kind of matched him with carries. He's an interesting guy. If it's between Ingram and Rachaad White, I'm taking Rachaad White. I'm taking all the younger players over Mark Ingram. Noah Brown or Devin Duvernay and add. This week, I want Devin Duvernay because Rashad Bateman got hurt. Rashad Bateman's got a little bit of a foot injury. I'm not sure if he's going to play this weekend. So that leaves, technically Devin Duvernay's got more fantasy points than Bateman so far in this young season. So I'm going to say Devin Duvernay. As of today, it's Devin Duvernay. And as Michael Gallup gets healthier, that's going to mean less Noah Brown. I don't think Noah Brown's going to go away completely, but to me, I think Duvernay, the dude he's consistent. He's got almost 4 games over double digits, of course, 21, 12, 10, and 9. If he can get 4 for 51, 4 for 54, and you got a good chance at a touchdown every week, I think that's kind of fun. Julio or Josh Reynolds, PPR. I'm not super in love with either of these guys. They're both kind of number 3, number 4 targets on their team. If let me see if there's any players I would take over them. So if you can get Devin Duvernay, Isaiah McKenzie, I'd rather have those guys. Even Rondale Moore, I'd rather have all 3 of those guys over Julio and Josh Reynolds. Alec Pierce, maybe even 2. Definitely, if you can get Romeo or George Pickens, I want those guys over Julio and Reynolds. But I would take Rondale, McKenzie, or Devin Duvernay over those guys. Harris, Mostert or Tyler. I lost Javonte Williams. I want Raheem Mostert. I know a lot of people are looking at that Atlanta Falcons situation as it's clearly Algier. But last week, they gave this undrafted Caleb Huntley a good amount of fantasy work last week. So let's see. Algier, he's got 18 fantasy points on the year. Caleb Huntley, though, he looked pretty good last week. He ended up with 10 for 56 and a score, 11.6 as his fantasy day. And with Algier, he got a lot of volume, 10 for 84, 1 for 20 as a receiver. But I think we're going to see a group here. I think you're going to see this kind of be a frustrating committee, Algier and Huntley. And then even Avery Williams mixed into the game last week, only 1 carry, but they do carry 3 backs. And then guess what? Damian Williams is coming back in another week. So I much prefer Mostert when we know it's Mostert and Edmonds, and it's a pretty clear lead for Mostert. Rank Algier, Hines, Boone for this week / going forward. For this week, if you had to start one, and it's simple. If Jonathan Taylor doesn't play, I'm going to play Nyheim Hines. So he's the guy for the week here. If I had to rank him for the week, I'm going to go, and that's assuming Jonathan Taylor doesn't play. I'm going to go Hines, Algier, Boone. Now the problem for the Falcons is they play Tampa Bay this weekend, so I don't think anyone should be starting Algier or Huntley or any of these Falcons backs. I think it's an awful matchup. So Hines is the clear winner for this week. The rest of the season, I think the guy that I would be most comfortable whipping out is probably Hines. I think he's the one guy that I want to have on my team. He has weekly value every week, even with a healthy Jonathan Taylor. So I'm going to rank them Hines, Algier, Boone. That's how, even for this week and going forward. Thoughts on Pat's game plan with these QB injuries? Ramondre, Damien Harris. I think they both could be in for 100 yards and a touchdown. That's the game plan. And I'll tell you what, Bailey Zappi, he looked good. I don't think there's going to be a lot of pressure coming from that Lions defense. I think Zappi could have himself a nice first career start, but you want Ramondre, you want Damien Harris in your lineups this week. That's pretty much the game plan. How many times can the Patriots run the ball? 40 times. Like that it's going to be a long day for the Lions defense. Has more info on Daniel Jones been released? It's looking unlikely that he starts with that sprained ankle. So it's Tuesday, typically the first. I'm looking at the practice reports here. no team puts like if you're playing on Thursday, that's when you're going to get Monday and Tuesday reports. But if you play on Sunday, we're not going to get any reports until Wednesday. So if Daniel Jones, if he gets limited practice tomorrow, that's a very good sign. If he's DNP, I'm not going to worry yet. He just needs a limited day in by Thursday or Friday. So as of right now, I can't really say anything on it. And yeah, I like stashing Damian Williams because week one, before Damian Williams got hurt, he was playing more than Cordero Patterson. So I personally, I'm not adding Algier. I'm not adding Huntley. I want Damian Williams if you're going to grab an Atlanta back. Who would you rather drop Allen Robinson or Tua Tagovailoa PPR? That depends on your QB situation. If you guys are playing in one QB leagues, the only reason I would be having two quarterbacks on my roster is if you're streaming them, that's fine. Or if your quarterback has like a bye the next week. So if you want to hold on to Tua, that's fine. I think Tua has more value to you the rest of the season. So, I mean, I think it might be okay to drop Allen Robinson. Receiver is the deepest area off the waiver wire to replace. And let's be honest, Allen Robinson's not having a good year. I think you can replace him pretty easy. ETN, I'm interested in ETN buy low. As far as other running backs you could potentially buy low in right now, I mean, check with the DeAndre Swift owner, see how he's feeling. Check with the Jonathan Taylor owner. Check with the Dalvin Cook owner. AJ Dillon's had a couple not so great weeks the last couple weeks. Check with the again. There's ETN, even J.K. Dobbins right now, but he might be kind of a hard get at the moment. Yay, trade MT for Godwin. I think so. If you can do that, I would do it. I mean, we just don't trust Michael Thomas. And Godwin was able to play well enough the other night. So I would rather have Godwin. I think Tampa Bay is going to go on a nice little run here. I think Tom Brady and that passing offense is going to get heated up. ETN and J-Rob's snap count. Let's look at it. So, again, this was kind of a weird game for the Jags. It was a raining game. They had a defensive score. Just a lot of weirdness happened. They had, 4 or 5 fumbles in that game. So I'm not really sure if we can learn too much from it, but let's take a peek at it. I'm almost there. Chicago, the Giants. Here we go. So ETN outsnapped James Robinson 24-22, 15 routes for ETN, 8 for J-Rob, and 8 carries each. So I guess the clear thing is if the Jags are losing, those are games where you probably want to start ETN. So this weekend, I believe they're 7-point favorites against Houston. So it's probably a James Robinson week, I would feel. And if you guys want to check out I got this uploaded earlier today. Let's check out the fantasy points allowed stats. But the Houston Texans, man, dead last against the running back. They play Jacksonville. It's James Robinson week. Minnesota or Miami defense. Let's look at my other, what do I got here? I'm going to go to the start sit charts. Let's go to week 5. I put up the Vegas odds here. Minnesota or Miami defense. I'm going to say Minnesota. Zach Wilson looked good last week, guys. I think I'm less afraid of the Bears offense than the Jets. Robert Woods or Romeo non-PPR. That's a great question because Treylon Burks is out for a while. I think I want to go with Romeo Doubs, though. That's a healthier offense. Robert Woods, kind of old news at this point. I think he's going to be leaned on heavily, but give me Romeo Doubs for the rest of the season. Why did Pollard have a down week? That's a very good question as well. Let's see if we can find that. Where is my Colts game? Were they at noon? I believe they were at noon. 1 second. Let's see. Oh, where is the Colts? Colts in Tennessee. All right, let me zoom back in here. So, all right, why am I clicking on that? I'm supposed to click on Dallas. My bad. 1 second. Dallas, and why can't I read it? Am I crazy? Dallas, Washington. I don't see it in here. I'm not sure what happened with that game script. It is a little bit strange. He just didn't get as much He didn't have. I mean, he had carries, but he just didn't have any pop-off runs. I don't know why I can't see this Dallas Washington game. That's very strange. Flex Pierce or Godwin next week. Has to be Pierce, right? You're gonna want Damian Pearson this week. And I know the Jags are playing much better than people thought, but their rushing defense is still one we want to target. They're giving up the 26th most points to the running back, Damian Pierce. He's locked into 15, 20 touches per game, guys. Go with Damian Pierce while he's hot. Godwin got a great snap count. He did. Let me click on that game. I'm not sure why that. I don't know why the Dallas Washington game's not on here, but let's click on that Kansas City game. Godwin right back, like the hamstring didn't even bother him. 45 routes run, 9 targets. Godwin is back. Should I drop Denver kicker too? Cowboys kicker is there. I'm cool with that. Denver's offense, I expect to get heated up a little bit, but if you can get the Cowboys kicker, especially with Dak coming back, that's a good offense to be a part of, and they play most of their games indoors. Rashad Penny, Romeo Doubs, Jeff, or Michael Gallup, non-PPR. Whew. If you need running backs, it's Jeff Wilson. If you need a receiver, it's Romeo Doubs. Yeah, thoughts on the Miami backfield? Miami. Chase Edmonds. I'm not sure what Chase Edmonds did, but this is very eye-opening. This is clearly Raheem Mostert's backfield to me. 46 snaps to 18 for Edmonds, 26 routes for Mostert, 9 for Edmonds, 3 targets for both of them, 15 carries to 5. Like this is Raheem Mostert's backfield. Now the interesting thing is Raheem getting the 2-minute drill, the third downs. They split short yardage 1-for-1, but Raheem's getting everything. It just so happened to be that Chase Edmonds on his one goal line touch, he got a touchdown. So Raheem Mostert, guys, if he's available, this is extremely positive for Raheem Mostert. I mean, if you have a David Njoku or a Tyler Conklin or something like that, I think it's okay. But like we should be nervous about Kyle Pitts. It's not looking fun. I do think though now that Cordero Patterson is out for the next 4 to 6 weeks, maybe Kyle Pitts gets a little bit more of an attention in the game plan here. I think Bucks are going to smash. Start Eagles against Cardinals. I'm cool with it. The Eagles defense, man, they've been lights out all season. I think are they the number one score? Like they're like they're a top scoring defense, I believe, this year. So I think the Eagles are a good start for sure. Yeah, Bucks at home. Bucks at home are going to put up probably 40. George Pickens, Lazard, Mostert, Robbie Anderson, Hines start 3. We're going to start if Jonathan Taylor's out, I'm starting Hines. I don't give a shit about Robbie Anderson. Give me Lazard, Hines, and then let me look at this. Mostert going up against the Jets. New York Jets are kind of middle of the road here. George Pickens just they play Buffalo. I think you're going to go with Hines, Mostert, and Lazard. If Daniel Jones doesn't play, it means I should stream a kicker over Graham Gano, right? And their defense isn't steamable even with 15 last week. I don't trust the Giants. They really haven't played. Let's be honest. They haven't really played anybody amazing. Let me open up this link here. I mean, the Giants, their only game that was worth a damn was the Cowboys game. They beat Tennessee, Carolina, and Chicago. They should, look good against those teams. I think against Green Bay, you're going to see Green Bay's offense kind of come to life. I don't want to use the Giants against Baltimore either. So I think the next 2 weeks I'm out on the Giants. And their defense isn't. I wouldn't touch their defense. I think should I stream a kicker over Graham Gano? Let me open up a league where I have kickers. Graham Gano is kicker number 5 on the year. Let me just filter by projections this week. If you can get Greg Joseph at home against Chicago, I like that play. Is Harrison Butker coming back? I'm not sure this week. If you could get, Cade York against the Chargers looks pretty good. That's a great matchup. You can maybe get maybe the Riley Patterson here against Houston. That one could be kind of nice. Riley Patterson, kicker number 12 on the year. Not a great game last weekend, but again, it was bad weather. But 10, 7, and 12. I think there's a couple options here for the week that are better than Graham Gano. Because if the Giants are going to win, they're going to need touchdowns, not field goals. Need AMA and Hunter to come back. Yes. I need Hunter Renfrow to come back. Who should I start my flex? Olave, Gabe, Thielen, Jamal Williams, Melvin Gordon. Who should I start my flex? Olave, Gabe, Adam Thielen, Jamal Williams, Melvin Gordon. I kind of like Adam Thielen at home against the Bears. I think that's a really nice spot. Jamal Williams has been phenomenal, but going up against the Patriots, they allow only 17.85 points per game to the running back. I think it is a tougher matchup for this week with Jamal Williams. Gabe Davis going up against the Steelers. On paper, like that's a nice matchup as well. And technically on paper, the Bears giving up the fewest amount of fantasy points to the wide receiver, which is extremely interesting. And then, of course, Olave going up against the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks also, where are the Seahawks? Kind of tight against the wide receiver. So maybe it's Gabe Davis. I'm open to Melvin Gordon, the Colts. Let's see, where are my Colts? Indianapolis Colts. Why can't I read? 18th here. I'm open to Melvin. This is a tough one. I think I'm going to say Gabe Davis against the Steelers. Brian Robinson has a stash by J.D. McKissick, Curtis Samuel. He's worth a stash. I get nervous about owning a lot of Commanders, but you have McKissick and Samuel. I love both those guys in PPR. So if you can stash Brian Robinson, I would say do it. It depends on who you're cutting. But we'll hang out for another few more minutes. If you guys have questions, please fire them in. I'm trying to think of anything else that we haven't covered tonight. I just want to review the waiver wire report. Make sure we covered everybody for you guys. Let's see. Streaming quarterbacks this week: Trevor Lawrence versus Houston, love it. Carson Wentz versus Tennessee, we love that. I kind of like Zach Wilson against the Miami Dolphins. I'm open to that. Running backs, again, we covered Naheem, we covered Raheem, and Raheem. Go get Brian Robinson if you can. Burkhead, McKissick. You got Algier, Rashad White. Isaiah Pacheco. We haven't talked about Isaiah Pacheco at all, but I mean, here he is right here. I think he might be the guy to own for potential playoff push. He only played on 17 snaps, but 5 routes run and 11 carries. Pretty much touched the ball every time he was in the game. So 11 carries for Pacheco. If anything happens to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, we know he's been injury prone the last 2 seasons. If anything happens to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, we got something there. I would be cutting no one. Your league matchups. Other people said Olave, but I guess I'll try. I'm open to Olave. It is at home. It is probably the safest route, but I feel good about Gabe Davis going up against the Steelers. Those would be the only 2 I'd be looking at. I'll tell you what, if Michael Thomas is out, go Olave. It's easy. Pacheco over Robinson. Harris, for you, I would rather stash Pacheco. Yes, in this situation, stash Pacheco. You're already balls deep in Washington. Might as well just grab Pacheco. I think he's looked good. He deserves more work. And surprisingly, both Clyde and Pacheco kind of pushed McKinnon down this week. So that's a good spot to add these guys. And again, now that we're 4 weeks in, like we're officially in stash running back season. You want to be stashing these guys, whether it's Latavius, whether it's Damian Williams, whether it's Pacheco. Just keep stashing running backs, even Jalen Warren for the Steelers. A lot of good running backs here. Yeah, that's going to do it for tonight's show, though. This was a lot of fun. I hope you guys get everything you need on waivers. Pacheco over Mike Boone. Yeah, I'm taking Pacheco over Boone. Yes, sir. I'm trying to think. Anything else happened today in the wild NFL? I don't think so. We're watching Jonathan Taylor tomorrow, though, guys. That's a big day for Jonathan Taylor. But this was fun. I'm gonna get out of here. Actually, Justin wanted me to cover the Fellowship Fun League. Let me pull that back up here. Where were we? Can you go over the week 4 Fellowship League? Week 4, I got smacked. dogged me 158 to 143. I fall to 2-2. He hits me with the Geno McCaffrey Higgins, just smacking me with Geno Smith. Oh man. Ketchup and Mostert falls to the fellow Matt Boehm here. Matt Boehm hits Justin Jefferson, Cooks, and Gerald Everett ball out. J.K. Dobbins in the lineup, though, for Ketchup and Mostert. Justin remains undefeated, 4-0, 130 over champion is, I can't remember. I think this is my dad's team, but 130 to 81. Brady, Kelsey, Mahomes, just a beautiful stack of veteran players there. Looks like Aiden gets his first win of the year over Marietta, 127 to 124. He sticks with Russell Wilson. He calls up Jamal and gets the Herbert points as well. Overcomes the Hawkinson DK Metcalf game. So great game there. Marietta falls to 0-4. Aiden gets his first win of the year. Moeller's over Fantasy Goods by a mere 6 points. Looks like you get the Eckler, Cooper Kupp rolling. Good to see. Look at Fantasy Goods as running back. So Penny, Damian Pierce, and Saquon Barkley. Fantastic. And then, wow. Team Austin Cornelison, 175 over my brothers to 96. Jacobs, Evans, Tyreek to lead the way. We have two teams at 4-0 in the Fellowship Free League, so this is kind of fun. Two 4-0 teams, 1-0-4. Everyone's kind of still in it here in terms of I want to just look at the I like looking at the fantasy power rankings. I think this is a really cool tool. They got me at number 3, so that's cool. They got Justin number 1. Fantasy Goods number 2. I'm number 3. Looks like the returning champ Porsche 2-3 at 4. But a lot of fun. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the Superflex League. And let me see if I got any more questions. Otherwise, I'm going to get out of here. Carrie G, thanks for hanging out, my man. Thoughts on Algiers on the Falcons? So we talked a little bit about Algier earlier. I'm not super excited about the Falcons running backs. It's going to be a committee, and the thing is, like, for the next 4 to 6 weeks, while Cordero Patterson's going to be out, the Falcons have a really tough schedule. I can't remember. Let me actually look it up real quick. Falcons schedule. This weekend, they're going to play Tampa Bay. They're going to play Tampa Bay, San Francisco, the Bengals, the next 3 games. So, I mean, are you really going to want to start any Falcons running back over the next 3 games? I would say maybe not. And you have Algier, Caleb Huntley, Damian Williams coming back in a week or 2. It feels like fool's gold. I'm going to let somebody else grab those guys. I mentioned some of the alternatives: Rashad White, Isaiah Pacheco, Latavius Murray. If you want a PPR stash, McKissick, Rex Burkhead, some of those guys here. But I think the best thing I can tell you is you want to be a week ahead in waiver wires. You don't want to be picking up the guy that popped off last weekend. You want to be getting the guy that's going to pop off in the future. So if you have the room on the end of your bench to just be like, yep, I'm going to pick up Pacheco. I'm going to pick up Jalen Warren. I'm going to pick up guys that are backups right now, but could have roles going forward. So I think it's handcuff season. You want to be stashing running backs. Check out the waiver wire link in the description. If you guys have any more questions, hit me up on Twitter. Thank you guys so much for your time. This was a lot of fun. We'll see you guys tomorrow night in the live stream. We'll do a start sit live, and have a good one. Peace.